नमस्कार और स्वागत है आप सबका विचार मंथन धन और लाभ की अगली कड़ी में। मैं हूं डॉक्टर अनुभव और मेरे साथ हैं हमारे फाइनेंशियल एक्सपर्ट श्री संदीप साहनी। एज इंडिया सेलिब्रेट्स इट्स 77th इंडिपेंडेंस डे, तो सर मैं आपसे जानना चाहूँगा कि इंडिपेंडेंस, फ्रीडम, इन सब चीज़ों का क्या मायने है आपके लिए?
पहले तो सबको बहुत बहुत बधाई अपने 77th इंडिपेंडेंस डे की। फ्रीडम, आई थिंक what is the most important part of freedom is the freedom of choice. Freedom to choose what you want to do, how you want to do it and when you want to do it. And it is not only the freedom to dream, it is the freedom of that choice that yes, you can dream. There are many countries, there are many societies where you don't even have the choice to dream. So that freedom of choice, I think, is the most important thing in freedom.
So it's been 77 years now that India has been free, we have been independent. But जहाँ पे financial capability की बात आती है, do you think that we have actually attained freedom from financial liabilities or from financial captivity as well, जब हम masses की बात करें तो?
Dr. Anubhav, let me first tell you that I think we have a long distance to go. But one more thing which is also there is that we've traveled a long distance. Even in terms of the economy, our GDP at the time of independence was $14 billion. Today we are close to $4 trillion. We were nowhere in the reckoning. We are the 5th largest economy today and we are hoping to be the 3rd largest in the next 5 years. And I'm sure we will achieve that. So we have traveled a long distance, one. See, second thing is financial freedom is not only a function of income, it's also a function of habits. I can tell you so many people whose income goes up 10x, but their expenses go up 12x. जब उनकी इनकम बढ़ती है तो वो बड़ी गाड़ी लेते हैं, बड़ा घर लेते हैं, बड़े अच्छी जगह पे अच्छे ट्रैवल करने के लिए जाते हैं, तो उतना ज़्यादा खर्चा भी करते हैं। सी फाइनेंशियल फ्रीडम कैसे आएगी? फाइनेंशियल फ्रीडम आएगी अगर आप जितना आपका इनकम है, अगर आपका 100 रुपया इनकम है तो आप 70 रुपया खर्चा कीजिए, 30 रुपया बचाइए और निवेश कीजिए, इन्वेस्ट कीजिए फॉर योर फ्यूचर। That is how financial freedom will come. It will not only come through an increase in income, it will also come through an increase in change in habits and through financial literacy.
So आप कितना कमा रहे हैं और कितना खर्च रहे हैं, इसके साथ साथ ये भी ज़रूरी है कि you should know where to draw a line between the two.
Between the two and where to invest. And let me here once again clarify the difference between saving and investment. Saving is when you do not spend a part of your income. Investment is when you use that saving to earn money for yourself. When you put that saving to work and that saving starts making money for you. When you make your money earn money for you, that is what is investment.
So अगर हम इंडिया में ट्रेंड देखें पिछले कुछ सालों से, आई डोंट थिंक कि फाइनेंशियल इन्वेस्टमेंट्स या इन चीज़ों को लेके इतनी इन्फॉर्मेशन या इतनी नॉलेज थी। सो ऑफ कोर्स बहुत सारी इन्वेस्टमेंट्स जो हमारे देश में चलती थी वो आप कह लो कुछ हद तक कंजर्वेटिव अप्रोच थी कि लोग गोल्ड में इन्वेस्ट कर लेते थे, लोग कैश होल्ड कर लेते थे, लैंड होल्डिंग्स में इन्वेस्टमेंट कर लेते थे। तो अब जैसे जैसे इंडिया इकोनॉमी ग्रो कर रही है एंड आई थिंक वी आर वन ऑफ द लीडिंग कंट्रीज नाउ व्हेन इट कम्स टू यूथ पॉपुलेशन, सो यू थिंक दैट ट्रेंड इज नाउ चेंजिंग टुवर्ड्स मोर फ्यूचरिस्टिक इन्वेस्टमेंट ऑप्शंस?
See, definitely it is changing. See, every market evolves. Every country evolves, every economy evolves, every market evolves. And with each stage of economic development, आपको different opportunities मिलती हैं. I think we should be thankful to our forefathers who invested in land and who invested in gold. And because they invested in land, today that land has compounded, right? And a lot of wealth has been generated. So a lot of people have a lot of wealth because of the land that they own. Similarly, in terms of gold. See, another thing we should not forget is that earlier, even things like an FD or a PPF used to give returns in double digits. 12%, 13%, 14% की आपको FD मिलती थी. In the 90s, as late as the 90s, there was a time when PPF used to give you a more than 12% return. So there was a period. But now things have changed. See, earlier people were scared also because there were a lot of Ponzi schemes, frauds होते थे, regulatory environment इतना अच्छा नहीं था. But now I think regulatory environment has changed drastically it is all for the protection of the investor and the consumer. That is something which has changed. Digitization has helped. So अभी बहुत सारे लोग अगर आप देखेंगे in the last 3 to 4 years, the number of demat accounts have multiplied. That means people are moving towards financial investments and financialization of savings. So that is what is happening, and it will gather speed as we go along. And I'm sure, and the youth is at the forefront. अगर आप देखेंगे जितने डीमैट अकाउंट्स ऐड हुए हैं, ऑलमोस्ट 50, 60, 70% यूथ के ऐड हुए हैं, विद लिटरेसी, विद एजुकेशन, विद ईज ऑफ इन्वेस्टिंग, विद एक्सेस टू इन्वेस्टमेंट ऑप्शंस. आई थिंक दिस हैज हैपेंड.
सर आपने 90s की बात करी, तो अगर हम बैक टू 90s जाएं तो आई थिंक द वैल्यू ऑफ गोल्ड वाज अ फ्यू थाउजेंड रुपीज़, एंड मे बी जब हम प्रॉपर्टी की बात करते थे तो लाखों में होती थी, एंड इन अ स्पैन ऑफ 2 decades एंड ऑल the same figures have escalated to crores or even maybe more. तो आपको लगता है कि जो गवर्नमेंट की रेगुलेटरी पॉलिसीज थी या जो इन्वेस्टमेंट को लेके अवेयरनेस हुई है, दैट हैज़ अ रोल टू प्ले इन दिस?
I think it is, we cannot point a finger at only one thing. We cannot, ascribe the entire thing to one thing. A lot of things have happened. Good companies have come in. Investment options have moved. Earlier, if I wanted to invest into the equity market, there were a very handful of companies. But today, there are a lot of themes to invest in, a lot of good companies to invest in, fundamentally very sound companies to invest in, companies which have a very high governance level. Right? So all those things are there. So that is one. Second is access to information. Today, I think we all have the access to the same amount of information. Earlier, there was an information gap which used to be there. Somebody sitting in, let's say, Bombay, used to get information faster than somebody sitting in Chandigarh. Leave aside a small town. अभी तो वो gap खत्म हो गया. So that information arbitrage is not there anymore. So it is much easier to invest and take a faster investment decision. So वो सब चीज़ें हुई हैं और ये आने वाले टाइम में और बढ़ेगा. And the trend is right. आपने देखा है कि अभी जो सिप बुक है वो 15,000 करोड़ क्रॉस कर गई. Earlier, some years ago, 15,000 करोड़ एक साल का होता था सिप बुक. अभी 15,000 करोड़ एक महीने का हो गया. And that is how it will multiply.
तो सर जैसे जैसे ये मल्टीप्लिकेशन या इंफॉर्मेशन हम बात कर रहे हैं, आई एम श्योर के अर्बन एरियाज़ में तो बहुत ज़्यादा हुआ है बिकॉज एजुकेशन बहुत हो गई है, आउटरीच बहुत हो गई है. बट आपको लगता है कि यही आउटरीच हमारी रूरल इंडिया तक भी पहुंच रही है? आर दे इक्वली अवेयर अबाउट इन्वेस्टमेंट ऑप्शंस? इज द ट्रेंड शिफ्टिंग देयर एज वेल?
See, digitization has changed a lot of things. Today it is as easy for somebody sitting in rural India or a tier 3 town to invest as it is for somebody sitting in Mumbai or Delhi. So that is the first thing. They have the same access to information. And let me tell you, rural India, the literacy level is still very high. It is going up. People are literate. They are all using a phone. And that phone is their computer, their laptop, everything. जो आप और मैं फ़ोन पे करते हैं शायद वो हमसे ज़्यादा फ़ोन पे करते हैं. सो दे हैव एक्सेस टू एवरीथिंग एंड वी ट्रैवल अ लॉट टू tier 2, tier 3 towns and to rural India also. And let me tell you, they are very smart people and they are getting exposed to this. Maybe not at the same speed as people in urban India are, but yes, there's a change which is happening, and that change will bring results very fast. So you will find it's no longer limited to urban, rural, rich, poor. Everybody, a peon in my office is investing. The guy who comes to clean, even that lady is investing. So सभी लोग आज invest कर रहे हैं. Why? Because it has become very easy, and they see the returns happening. They see that they cannot be. There is no fraud. Regulatory environment is such. So that is happening, and there are people. A lot of financial advisors who are guiding them. So that change is definitely happening.
पर आपकी बात से जो इन्फ्लुएंस मैं ड्रॉ कर पा रहा हूँ वो ये है कि हमारे पास इन्फॉर्मेशन बहुत है जिसके करके हमारी इन्वेस्टमेंट्स बढ़ रही है, एंड प्रॉबली द इकोनॉमी इज़ ऑल्सो ग्रोइंग, एंड ऑफ कोर्स इकोनॉमी इज़ नॉट ग्रोइंग जस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ दीज. देयर मे बी मल्टीपल फैक्टर्स अबाउट दिस. आप बूमिंग इन्वेस्टमेंट्स कह लो, MNCs का आना कह लो, जो मर्जी कह लो. बट अलॉन्ग विद दिस इन्फॉर्मेशन आपको क्या लगता है कि इस इन्फॉर्मेशन को नॉलेज में बदलने के लिए कितना टाइम लगेगा?
इस इन्फॉर्मेशन को नॉलेज में बदलने के लिए ज़रूर समय लगेगा. जो गलती, सी अगेन लाइक आई सेड, यू नो आई हैव रिटन अ बुक, हमने पिछले आपके शो में एक वो उस किताब के बारे में बात भी की थी. जो मनी मिस्टेक्स हैं, मनी मिस्टेक्स आर नॉट बिकॉज ऑफ लैक ऑफ नॉलेज most of the time. Money mistakes are more because of behavior, because of our own behavior, because of our own insecurities. See, I'll tell you a very distinct change which has happened in the last, let's say, 30, 40, 50 years. See, majority of the population used to have a mindset of scarcity. Today, a majority of the population, I'll not say majority, but a vast range of population has a mindset of abundance. Our children do not have the same kind of insecurity that we were grown up with, that we had grown up with. Our parents had a far higher level of insecurity, you know, than we had. Right? We were always told कि आप ये नहीं कर सकते बिकॉज हम अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकते. हमने अपने बच्चों को कभी ये नहीं बात बोली कि आप अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकते तो आप नहीं ये कर सकते. So they come from a different mindset. They come from a mindset of abundance. So their money decisions and their financial decisions are I'll not say better, but they can afford to take more risks. Right? And if they are able to take more risks in consultation with the right kind of advisor, I'm sure they will be able to get better returns. And they will definitely move towards financialization of their savings. And nowhere does it say that you should not buy real estate or you should not go into FD. We say you should have a diversified portfolio, जिसमें रियल एस्टेट भी जरूरी है, एफडी भी जरूरी है और इक्विटी भी जरूरी है. एक पुराना रूल है जो बोला जाता है कि 100 माइनस योर एज शुड बी द अमाउंट यू शुड इन्वेस्ट इन इक्विटी. कोई 110 बोलता है, कोई 100 बोलता है, कोई 90 बोलता है, तो उसके ऊपर डिपेंड करता है.
सर बट चलिए एक तरफ तो हम इन्वेस्टमेंट्स और फाइनेंशियल फ्रीडम या फाइनेंशियल गोल्स की बात करते हैं, उसी तरफ अगर एक नया ट्रेंड आज की डेट में देखा जाए विद दी यूथ या आप कह लो मिडिल एज पॉपुलेशन कह लो वर्किंग ग्रुप बिटवीन 35 to 45, एक बहुत ट्रेंड आ गया था थैंक्स टू प्लास्टिक मनी दैट वी हैव आवर स्पेंडिंग हैज गॉन अप. A lot of things are available on EMIs and all. So of course our debt is also going up. We have everything that we need, but वो सारा probably हमारे पैसे पे नहीं है. That is all financed money or banks money and all that. So इस debt और investment के scenario को कैसे लिया जाए?
आप let me tell you first. See, we've always been a nation of savers. हमारा पहले जो saving rate था that was around in the high 30%. It was 35-36%. Today we are at around between 25 to 30%. We were never high, spenders, or we were never attuned to debt. Vast majority of the population was not attuned to debt. They were never into debt. See, even I think the best way to tell people about the problems of debt. See, all debt is not bad. There is debt which is good debt also. There's a good EMI, as we say, and there's a bad EMI. A good EMI may be an EMI that you spend on education. A good EMI is an EMI, let's say, you spend to buy a house. A bad EMI is an EMI you spend to go on a luxury holiday or to buy a luxury good. That's a bad EMI. So there's good debt and bad debt, and we need to educate people about what is a good debt and what is a bad debt. Right? So that is what I think what is important, and this is happening. Let me tell you, whatever experience that I've had with youth, and I interact a lot with youth in terms of money matters and investments and all that, they are smart guys. They know what they're doing. There'll always be percentage of people who will not know and who will overspend. Like I told you, कि लोगों की कहीं उनकी इनकम 10x भी हो जाए तब भी वो ज़्यादा खर्चा करेंगे. उनका अपना खर्चा बढ़ा लेंगे, ये नहीं कि अपना खर्चा कंट्रोल कर लेंगे. तो that is an individual thing. So there is, you can't generalize कि yes, debt levels have gone up or people are misusing credit cards. Some misuse happens. Some people will do it. But it's not that the vast majority
is the need of the hour.
Yeah.
People are going with time.
People are going, but that is what is happening.
As you said, India is probably one of the fifth largest economies now, and जैसे कि प्रधानमंत्री ने भी अभी कुछ दिन पहले कहा that the vision is to create it has to be between the top 3. So before we end this, one last question is that in the future, do you see more Rakesh Jhunjhunwalas being produced in India, or maybe even Warren Buffett?
See, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala and Warren Buffett are two iconic figures on the financial markets. But let me tell you, there's a slight difference in style of Rakesh Jhunjhunwala and Warren Buffett. See, Warren Buffett always made his money through compounding. he was a long-term investor. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala made a lot of his money through trading and investing that money into long-term investments, right? But he used to do a lot of trading also. And let me tell you, with the growth in the economy, right? And why am I very confident is because when we compare, the economies which have already traveled this distance, like for example, they've traveled from $3 trillion to $5 trillion and beyond, which is essentially US, Japan and China. What happened to their financial markets? What happened to their equity investors? Similar thing is going to happen in India. And boss, in those periods, the kind of money and the kind of wealth which was generated, the kind of wealth which the investors made was mind-boggling. They were like in the US for a major period, right? For almost 10 years, when they traveled from, let's say, 3 trillion to 5 trillion or 2.5 trillion to 5 trillion, the markets gave a CAGR return of around 18%. That means every 4 years they were doubling. That means in 10 years, let's say if you invested 100 rupees, it went up to 500 rupees and more. In China, this happened in 5 years. And you got a 34% return. That means you're doubling your money every 2 years virtually. So that is the kind of return possibly which will happen when our economy travels from 3 trillion to 5 trillion and to beyond. So Rakesh Jhunjhunwala and Warren Buffett possibly will dwarf them also as we go forward, and there will be lot many people who will do it, and lot many people who will be creating a lot of wealth. And हो रहा ये तो होने ही वाला है.
Let's hope so, sir. Thank you so much for joining us in another episode. हम आशा करते हैं कि हमारे जितने भी व्यूअर्स हैं वो विचार मंथन, धन और लाभ की इन सारी कड़ियों से फाइनेंशियल इंडिपेंडेंस या फाइनेंशियल फ्रीडम की तरफ इंक्लाइन होंगे एंड हम उनके बहुत सारे डाउट्स क्लियर कर पाएंगे. हम अगले एपिसोड्स में इस सारी डिस्कशन को जारी रखेंगे. वी विश यू ऑल अ वेरी हैप्पी इंडिपेंडेंस डे. थैंक यू. जय हिंद. दिस इज डॉक्टर अनुभव फॉर हिंद जनपथ.
जय हिंद.